Yeah, welcome back to Wook Plus. I'm Weekend Wook, joined by Kev the Great. Kev the Great went and T. What's up, guys? Kev, you crack me up, man.
I did you notice that during Slave at the very end, it kind of was reminiscent of Everything's Right visuals with all the
I
columns.
It is exactly. I felt like the
It was
blooming
exactly.
onion.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I thought it was a great callback. Like close it with, but which we can talk the encore when we get to. I just want to say that we talked earlier about why they didn't do reprise, and we were like, oh, they must have something special planned, but they really didn't. Like,
Really didn't.
yeah, I don't know why I couldn't have just done reprise tonight, but anyway, we'll get to it.
Done Slave on night 3 and a more reprise
Right?
tonight, and that would have been fucking great. I
Yeah,
mean, Slave
just
was
change.
pretty though. I
Yeah,
do love a
no,
good Slave encore.
and it's fun to change it up sometimes, throw a little curveball, so to speak, in there and give you the reprise on a Saturday night. Sure, why not?
So what was the central theme to the Everlasting Spoof? Because I don't even know what the theme was now.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They came in and they reaffirmed your thought of it being the matter, right? With plasma. Then they instantly reaffirmed my thought of it being the biosphere with evolve, and then they went back to plasma with ghost, and then they did a bunch of space shit. And in the end, it doesn't really matter, I guess, right?
And I think that speaks to kind of what the chat is saying too, is sort of, the ranking of the nights and doing these. I think there's something special in each night. And I think, like Brian says, separately, I like them all separately too. Each one had special things in it. Like I thought tonight, the first set was okay, but that second set was amazing. And some of those jams were phenomenal. You could have thrown out a couple of the songs in there, here and there, and rearranged a couple things, but some of those jams tonight were just fantastic. And so I
Yeah.
don't think you can really this or that all 4 nights. You just
I
gotta say,
totally am going to, though. I
I know
respect
that's
that,
what we
and
do.
I love.
That's what we do. But I will
Yeah.
say every night was awesome. Like every
Yeah, I
night was
agree. I think they're
awesome.
all at a very, very high standard, and I obviously it's super, super subjective, but it's fun as shit, and I think that's more important. I think everybody gets super like defensive and dare I say a little bit, fragile when you start talking about it. It's just fun. Like it's take a deep breath. Like I loved all of it. I thought it was a
Yeah.
fucking really big step, a big highlight for the band. It's crazy, 40 something years in that they're fucking still blowing our minds like this.
And I won't even say a big step for the band. I'll say a big step in the evolution of music and entertainment alone. Like the Sphere is something spectacularly special, and what U2 did was completely different from what PHiSH did, and I'm sure U2 fans were blown away by what they did, but what PHiSH just did in there set the bar so much higher than what I think U2 did. And whoever follows them, now I know Dead and Co's next up, but whoever really follows Dead and Co and is the next big act to come in there has some big production shoes to follow. Like that was epic.
Yeah.
I bet you it's
agreed.
the Eagles.
That'd be cool. I think some
That's an
pop
interesting
artists
take,
could
Kev.
really do great with it too, like a really polished, refined show that they do 60 times. You know what I mean? Like it's not my cup of tea, but I think you could really cuz like I've seen, you know, shows like that where just the normal stage show is so polished and perfect with the choreography and stuff. If you took that level of production, other artists could do it, but for what we got and being the trailblazers, I was incredibly impressed
Yeah.
with this band of ours.
So my new idea is to get Dave Grohl to
I saw
play
that.
to join Rush, and Rush does a Sphere run there because
Do you
Rush
think
songs would be cool in there.
I agree Rush would be awesome to see, but do you think Grohl
No.
can play Pert? I don't think he can.
He
And I
played
don't
with them before.
yeah, he
Had
did.
he?
I don't think they would tour to I don't know if they would do that though. You know what I mean? Like settle into a thing like that. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I mean, there's a lot of good bands that I think would fit there. I know not everybody's a fan of theirs, but I think Coldplay would be phenomenal in there. They already kind of have that feel to them and the theatrics to their show, and they can do a stripped down stage and be up there. And I think they would be phenomenal there.
I'm
And
with T Law.
Blur
I think
broke
Pert
up.
would be way better. I mean, I like
Blur
Grohl
broke
too.
up apparently one stage, and the rest of the band didn't know.
I have a friend who has a wife who is obsessed with Coldplay, and it just boggles my mind. I don't know why. Like I know they have fans, but to like meet somebody in real life that's like the biggest passion is Coldplay. Like,
Have you ever watched his YouTube channel? The other day he was talking about this guy who's a friends with his wife who is all into fish.
That was pretty funny, actually. No, but like, yeah, okay, enough. We got it.
Don't trigger Tim. Don't trigger Tim yet.
No, I'm in a great mood.
That's what I mean. He's in a great mood. Let's let him ride this out.
I love hanging out with you guys.
Get through this last half hour. So
I missed you, T. See, when there's three of us, Kev is like the comedic input, and it works really well. When it's the only word I'm riffing with, it's like it can be challenging.
You need me in here to balance it out. Like I'm that balancer, the ref that kind of just makes sure everybody's playing fair.
Actually, before we get into this, I wanted to say, since I told you I was going to rank them, and then I proceeded not to. Night 1 was the best set list. Night 2 was the best production and visuals. Night 3 was phenomenal playing, but tonight I thought captured all of it. I thought it had a very strong set list. It had a very, very strong production. And I think the playing was near flawless. Every single jam and song I thought was really good. So I was very high on tonight. If I had to choose, which I do because I said I would, I think night 4 is the night for me. But like you said, T, I think all 4 nights were pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Now we can go into it. Kev, why don't you start us off since you had the astounding, astronomically amazing call and we're adamant about Plasma. What did you think when you heard Plasma? Were you happy about that?
I love Plasma. Of all the things that have migrated from other places, it's a fantastic song. It's got a great groove. When they were playing it, it was a really healthy one because a lot of times it'll be short and it'll pop up again. But I was thinking, I wonder if Plasma's going to run as a thread, like a tweezer thing, through the whole set or through the whole show. And
a Plasma Fest, that would have been cool.
It did get teased later on in the show. Mike did tease it in one of the things I saw, and actually I read that and didn't even see it. And apparently Paige did a Linus and Lucy later on too, I read. But I will say this, we talked about it earlier with the openers all being pretty good jam, like big openers, and this was another one at 13 minutes. Like we got I think every night was over 10-minute opener. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they were all pretty big for sure. I think what I liked about this jam too was it didn't go real crazy spacey. It was very grounded and locked in. Well, I guess it's type 1, like in the traditional sense, but it was more exploratory while still staying grounded in that type 1 realm. Also, mic sound. I mean, I'm gonna probably say this like 5 times tonight. Fucking the mix was. I've never heard Mike sound that good through a webcast. And I know everybody talking about the house. Like, I know he sounds phenomenal there, but also through the webcast, just fucking great. Sounded super good in this. And then we got Evolve. I got to say, I'm only going to say one thing about it. I like this version better than the studio version. And honestly, with the mix, I liked it. I was almost joking. I was thinking, like, just take this recording, the Sphere Evolve, and put that on the album. Like, there was a little energy to it. I was starting to come around to it. We'll see how that develops.
I thought it was fun in the 2 spot. I thought it worked well after Plasma. I thought it was a good, to your point, it was a great version of it. I like the song. It's fun. And I think where it kind of rolled into that role tonight is just like that second song, like fun, where sometimes you get the party time or something else in that spot. This is kind of filled that role, but better. Like I like this song. It's just fun to me. It's very fishy to me, and I thought it worked really well tonight where it did. I thought we were going to maybe get it as an encore tonight, as one of the encores tonight to kind of close out, kicking it towards the album. But I liked where it was in the 2 slot.
Yeah, they gave it a little extra spark, I think. That like 2 slot, just a tiny bit extra on it, and I think it made all the difference in the world.
And I think to that point, Tim, it helped coming out of a 13-minute Plasma. Like it already kind of had that energy going into it, so they just kind of kept it rolling with it, and it wasn't lost in the second set in between songs or something like that. It kind of like rolled out of a good jam of a Plasma into it, so I think it helped it with what was before it.
I think going forward, Evolve is a song that they are going to play. And I will probably say, but how about this Ghost?
How about this Ghost? How about those visuals on Ghost? How about those robots?
Oh my
Iron
God,
Man. I'm saying Iron Man Well, our friend Har said to T,
Ultron.
Ultron.
Yeah, I love the Marvel references. I'm all for that with the people seeing the robots. I actually got my Iron Giant feels from it too, like that giant robot, especially when it was like laying down and had the lights coming out of its eyes. But really fun.
I was
Yeah.
hoping they were going to do some Transformer stuff and then become like, cars, or maybe that would have tied the cars into the whole thing.
Kind of, and
They
it
didn't need to
actually
tie the cars in though.
it
It's
looks
fine.
very, when you look at it like this picture, what's fun about it is it's almost like a 4-year-old or something drew you know what I mean? Like kind of
Yeah.
sketched these out and drew them, and they went with that on they didn't
But
like
then they add the tiny details
Right.
of like the bracing and shit and the connections, and there's like bolts, so it's like it looks like the overall shape is juvenile, but then the refinement and like it's like HD 4K juvenile sketches. It's an amazing combination.
and has like the scratches inside of it with the lights, like looks like it was kind of just, like it's just it was phenomenal. It's so
Neon
cool.
neon lights are made with plasma.
Oh, and ghosts. Like
Ghosts.
yeah. Hey, I want to
My favorite thing was the eyes, though. When the head was down behind him and they had the spotlights come out like laser eyes.
That
I was like,
very
that's
cool.
pretty badass.
Very cool.
Hey, I just want to announce or say as housekeeping that all of the photos we share tonight are once again from Stephen Olker. He's a photographer and on Twitter, and he's been taking really awesome shots all run. So I don't like sharing pictures without giving credit. So I'm only gonna do it once though. All the pictures tonight are all gonna be his because he has great shots of it.
We're gonna send him a sticker if we can find his address.
Yeah, maybe.
At least maybe a beanie.
Maybe a beanie. So this ghost, I think, explored lots of cool places. I mean, ghosts lately have been around 11 minutes. They've been closing sets. This one they totally let breathe. They got some extra, it had the extra spaces in it, and I felt like it was one of the few times this whole run, all the progress we had made in Mexico with not having everything Bliss Jam, we completely lost in Vegas. There was so much bliss going on, and I felt like this was one of the few ones that wasn't shoved down your throat.
There was more bliss than Mexico for sure, but I do feel like they maintained a mix, right? Because there were a couple of songs that I think they got away from bliss.
But it didn't go like Kev likes. Like it didn't go too evil. It didn't get too broken down and deconstructed and get into that zone where sometimes he likes to go. I mean, even with like My Friend on night one and even Carini night one, Carini was so short because it was at the end of the set and didn't really get there. And even My Friend didn't get too dark and evil into it. So even on those songs that they had the chance to go there, they kind of backed out of it. But I think to that point, Kev, it's a little intimidating to go too evil with those graphics and the sound in there. Like you're really gonna freak some people out. So I don't think they could do that.
Yeah, I wish for Fuego they had just had flames burning the whole place down, but you definitely would have sent someone into PTSD.
Right.
With
that it's a lot easier when you're on the beach in Mexico to get a little evil because you can kind of like, oh my God, I'm outside, like I can get my shit
hop
together.
in the ocean.
Right. And there you're like, oh fuck, like I'm losing it. So
yeah,
I get it.
And then an absolutely beautiful Divided Sky. And see, we were talking about this at halftime. You were saying about the graphics being a little on the nose and not loving that, but it kind of, I think, worked for me just for this song with how incredibly beautiful the song was, and then to have the visual match it. I mean, look at that. The fucking
what was
pink
cool
clouds and stuff.
Yeah, it was the changing of the clouds and then how everything stopped when they stopped and then rolled it back in. Like I thought that was really cool. It was just some of those songs where Trade made a point of saying we don't like to be too on the nose. Then some of the songs were very on the nose, and this was one of them.
Was, yeah.
But like we were texting in our thread during this song, like as soon as it came on, I was like, this is one of my favorites. I love this song. It's the first song I ever heard live at the first show I went to. And it just encapsulates, like, it's just so fucking beautiful. And like to get a 15-minute version after a 17-minute Ghost was just like a half hour of fantastic music in back-to-back songs. It was so awesome. And that pause was beautiful. You could tell the crowd was really into it. It was awesome. Really
and
good.
they paused the graphics. Everything was moving, and during the pause, everything froze. And yeah, very, very.
It was one of the ones I think everybody was looking for. and it didn't disappoint, even if it was on the news. I mean, just the shots, even on the video screen, were incredible. You know, watching from home were incredible. I can imagine being there, how huge those clouds were. You know.
Yeah, that's a song too that makes me emotional just by itself without anything else contributing. Just
Right.
listening to it, I get like goosebumps and get emotional. You add the crowd energy and the buzz in the crowd, the perfect like audio and the screen with the beautiful imagery all together. I guarantee there were a dozen, no, probably hundreds of people crying, bawling their eyes out, just fucking emotional from this shit.
And just
Uh,
blissing out. I mean, that was one of those like blissy, peakful, like when you get the warm fuzzies and like, you know, inside of you during that song. It was just it was beautiful as it
And when
always
you're
as
on
it is.
cloud nine, as it were, Trey's decides, you know what we need? We need some fucking shade in this
Ugh.
bitch. I'll start with the positive. Let's do a compliment sandwich. Only an open face sandwich. I thought the addition of the acoustic in the beginning of it worked for this song and made it more interesting and a little bit more palatable for me. But that's kind of where it stopped for me. After the opening, I don't know. This one doesn't sit. I think it was an odd choice after such a insanely great open to the show.
Shade is a song that they are going to play from now on.
Kind of like Evolve. Didn't you just say that?
Kind of like Evolve.
I'm with you, Kev. It's 100.
What was funny was I think Kevin in our thread, you know, you wrote quick and painless, and I was like, oh no, it was painful.
Just quick,
like,
not painless.
I was like, it was definitely painful. Like, it just, I get you got to have something there because you've kind of come out with 4 upbeat songs to, like I said, a 30-minute jam with or 30-minute 2-song mixture there. So something had to come in there. It's just having the acoustics. We've talked about this, bringing the guitar out and having the acoustic in the middle of any set breaks it, right? Like you have that moment, and then he still had his guitar on, so he went back and was able and
he learned the Peter move,
right? I was going to say that too.
Totally. It was pretty seamless though, with them bringing it out and him just like going up to it. I mean, it was better than it used to be.
It is going to be showing up this summer.
The acoustic,
they were testing it out, you know.
It's just I don't mind it in the encore because it works coming out fresh and having it and then having a rockin' song after it. The middle of the set, it's weird because it just still breaks up that set and it's just an odd place. And this is normally where we'd get a Mike song. I told you guys in the thing, I was like, Mike's gonna have a lot of songs this summer because he really got shut out in this run. Like, other than night one with his Mike song, he didn't really get a lot of love. So I feel like he's gonna get some input on the sets come summer tour. But
he didn't get a lot of love because this real estate is like prime and expensive.
Totally.
And honestly, that's what bothered me about Shade. It's like I'm not gonna hate on it as a song, but like, what else could we have gotten there instead of that?
You're saying Mike doesn't belong on Broadway or Park Place? You're sending him down Baltic Avenue there or something?
he gets the railroads.
Yeah.
Hey, the railroads are 200 a pop.
I was gonna say I haven't played Monopoly recently enough to be able to contribute to this joke, but well done, sir.
Hey Stranger is a monster.
I learned tonight that I love that song. I never knew it. I honestly never even gave it, that much thought, but tonight it slapped. I really, really liked what they did with it.
Yeah, the jam.
I dig Trey's vocal stylings on it too, because he's kind of being like hip guy when he sings it. It sounds like,
Yeah.
Hey Stranger.
I liked what Paige was doing in the jam. I like how when he gets his like little moment with the like, I love that the jam. I love like the way the lights behind them were moving. Some of the favorite graphics in that place are when they're moving or makes you feel like you're moving through things. And I really liked that whole like
kind of like our background.
Yeah, I agree with
sense. Yep.
I agree with T2, the other T Hall here. I thought Paige was doing a lot of work in this one. And there was one moment, and I don't remember exactly where it was, like timestamp wise, but it just opened up sonically where it felt previously it felt kind of confined and like, tight. And all of a sudden it just opened wide open right towards the end. And I mean, it was absolutely beautiful. Once it opened up like that, I was kind of blown away by it.
Yeah.
A little funky too in the middle, which is cool.
Yeah, which was fun, which was that Page sort of that Page funk in it that kind of added that extra element, which was really cool.
Oh man, I'm getting that 4 a.m. neck crack thing going. Holy shit.
Character Zero is a big rock and roll song and not the one I expected to see at the Sphere.
Yeah.
Hold on, I wanted to show the
Yes.
Stranger graphic, the little
Yes.
spermy
Yeah.
guys. This one
Yeah.
was cool.
Those were really fun. Really fun. The way they were moving around the venue and stuff. And yeah. I mean, it's hard. I will say, after being there, it's hard the webcast for it to capture it. Like, and I see what you guys were saying with like they expanded some of the camera angles out, which was nice. And they actually, this camera angle that they would show from in the live stream was one of my favorites, just because it actually gives you some of the perspective. And our seats were kind of this
Look how
angle down.
tiny the fucking stage is in
Exactly.
this.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. We were down on the 100, so the stage was bigger. But when you would look over like that way, and the graphics were moving from like into it or whatever, it looks so cool. And you can't really capture that on video. But this was like the closest thing that you could really see to it when they would show these angles, and it was just like this. I can only imagine how cool some of those graphics were tonight in the arena.
From the pictures, it looks like someone took a football stadium and cut a slice of pie out of it and stuck it in a ball, because it looks like a huge, like just a section of a stadium, you know?
Yeah, it's well, and it feels like a theater, right? Like everything's facing one direction. Like there's no side seating. Everything's kind of like facing in towards it, and then you just have this like basketball, like a half a basketball around you that goes all the way up and over you. It's really,
And there's your analysis of Character Zero.
It was a serviceable 0.
Serviceable 7-minute 0 to close the set, but it was needed, right? Like you needed to rock out to close them, like we talked about. And yeah,
There you
This
go.
was the Zero
Starry
visual,
Night
right?
indeed.
a lot of Starry Night graphics tonight, a lot of which are cool. Like I like those were some of my favorites from night 1 too, like the sand and the antelope ones, where it's again the movement is what makes it cool, and then having them kind of as cards or whatever they were in, and having them flipped and upside down towards the end of the song was really cool, I thought.
Yeah, agreed.
It you know why, T? It's a lot of Monet.
Monet. Count the Monet.
I'm so glad you're here, T, man.
We'll be here all week.
Tip your waitresses.
All right. The only housekeeping, it's nice and easy, is Wednesday night the Wookiee Awards are returning. We're also going to do a full recap of the whole run, but we're still working out the timing. So
don't forget Tuesday night
at 1:00. We'll be
All right.
doing Wook Club.
We don't have to plug everything every time. The more shit
Well,
you
don't
plug,
forget-
the less they remember.
We've moved it to the afternoon now, so it's
We
take
did
a
1
break,
Eastern.
take your
There's
lunch
a
break,
plug
and
for
join
that.
us.
Right, but if you're going to remember anything, remember the Wookiees.
And then,
Yeah, right.
and
Grab a sandwich, come out and join us for lunch, and listen to us break down a show. And then Wednesday, get ready for the award show of the season.
Yeah, fuck yeah. All right. Let's see. Where the fuck is this?
ooh, what happened, Tim? Did you feel like you got slapped or punched in the gut? Slapped in the face or punched in the gut when they
I
did
felt
not
like
give you the
punched
camera?
in the face and slapped in the gut in a very humiliating way. It was. Listen, I try not to talk about disappointment and expectation and all that stuff. And sometimes when you guys do it, I'll be like, okay, but that's what you wanted. What did they, fuck all that. I wanted a jammed out Oblivion, and they fucking set it up prime. They were coming in strong. It sounded fantastic, and I was ready to go. I was just like tweeting like an asshole, like, let's fucking go. I'm ready for this shit. And before I could even hit send, they fucking ripcorded it. And I was like, I was excited for Disease. Don't get me wrong. And we'll talk a lot about the Disease. I just can't believe how shortchanged I felt with that Oblivion. You know what's happening? It's become Mercury, which is a goddamn shame because Mercury had so much promise early on. And they were like, you know what? We're just going to play this long ass song and not give you not even like a decent jam, 0 jam. They made it a no jam song. And I do not understand that move. And it's not the first time. It's like the last 3 times they haven't jammed it.
Yeah,
very frustrating.
8 minutes was a little short, especially because, as we just talked about, these were some of my favorite graphics. It was the movement, like you felt like you were moving through something.
And I should share that while you're
fucking
talking.
I fucking love those. Like they are the coolest ones there. Like the movement through stuff is just the best. And these things were like when it travels
was so
over
cool.
you, like because when you're in there, like the stars for Antelope or the lines on Antelope, when you look up and it's actually traveling over you and you look back forward, it feels like you're moving through it. It's like the coolest sensation ever. And I was like, oh shit, this jam is gonna get like gnarly. We're gonna get somewhere. And then it was just like ripcord. You're like, ah.
Right.
Oh,
I mean, the graphics is a whole nother level of the disappointment. It's like I wanted another 10 minutes of that.
yeah,
Right. But
I know.
all right,
Completely.
maybe that's all we need to bitch about it, because we did get something rather fun and spectacular after that with this disease.
Amazing.
Kev, why don't you start with the disease? What did you make of it?
I tell you what, the first 20 minutes of it were like your standard what you're getting with Down with Disease. I don't think they really broke any new ground. At around 20 minutes in, I felt like they were going to push it. They were actually going to do it, and maybe they were going to go chalk dust Mexico realms with things, but I don't feel like it ever really quite clicked, and they fell back into the Bliss thing again.
I think you were wrong. Or let me rephrase that. I disagree with you. I think your dislike of Bliss jams maybe taints it for you, and I could appreciate you not loving it. I gotta say, there was a point halfway through where Fishman goes into this halftime, and it felt like he was going to deconstruct it. And Trey looked back at him, and then just started fucking ripping his guitar, like really fast. And they were like, and then Fishman jumped instantly on. It was a launch pad. They just relaunched, and from that point on, Fish was unleashed. Like he was just a madman with his playing, and the sound got super big. There was a lot of like rhythmic modulations after that, and Trey was just, I thought from that point on, it was probably the best 10 minutes of jamming I've heard them do.
Well, so you're about where I was, like 20 so minutes in is what you're thinking about. You're thinking like 24
I didn't
minutes
hate the first half. I agree with your assessment, though. I thought the first half was very Disease jam. Like it was a very standard Bliss.
Yeah.
But honestly, which is still pretty fucking good. Like just because we get it all the time doesn't mean it's not great. But the end of it, though, with the resurgence, I don't even know what word I want to use to describe that, but it was just like a fucking slingshot when Trey looked at him and started doing that. It just injected and then the whole floor tom thing where they had that like fast pace and he kept going to the floor, riding the floor tom, and it had that like grungy chunkiness to it. Yeah, it was. I loved the end of this jam. This was by far my highlight.
There's, I even texted you guys during it. I was like, I love Disease jams because I do love, because a lot of times, to your point, that setup through the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes is usually the same, but usually if you're going to get it longer, it goes somewhere after that, which is where it always gets interesting for me. And up until that, I don't mind the blissful funness of that jam and usually where it's going in there. And then tonight, when it hit that second level and changed directions, it was like you climbed up to one point and then you're like, oh, there's still this other peak to climb to. Okay, let's climb that one. And it just kept going. And you were like, this is fantastic. Like, don't stop, And a lot of times Trey will pull the ripcord either after that first 15 and you're like, oh, we didn't even get to the second level tonight. Or in the middle of getting to the second level, he'll pull out and drop into another song. And you're like, oh man, there was so much meat left on that bone. Keep it going. Tonight, they kept it going and they chewed it all off. Like it was fantastic. Like it just hit it. It was fucking awesome. And I was going to get into this next because I keep talking about the graphics, but they were some of my favorite graphics of the night. Like just trippy and gorgeous and colorful. And this whole second set, if you were on acid or some kind of hallucinogen tonight, it was fantastic. Like the colors,
not
the
that we're advocating that.
The movements. Oh, I'm advocating the movements. Like you were on fire tonight. This had to have been a blast if you were like tripping. It had to have been because it was gorgeous. I want to watch
the video too.
It was phenomenal. Like I can't even imagine what over your head, like how encompassing it was, and like the dripping, and like it was gorgeous. And that going with the music, phenomenal. Like just absolutely phenomenal. And I feel bad for who is it in here was just talking about dude in 103 talking about work during the Disease jam. I mean, that is brutal. That is awful.
What the fuck?
That is awful. And actually, how are your seats in 103? Because that's where I sat night one. I was in 103 row 5, and it was phenomenal. Like phenomenal seats. Fantastic section.
But that is by far the worst chomper story I've ever heard. During that jam in that venue, chomping without work. Are you serious?
That's rough.
So what's up with that poll?
Which one? The Twitter one or the
The Twitter one that
yeah.
you did before we came on.
So we did a poll about Mexico chalk dust versus Sphere disease, and I know there's gonna be a bunch of people like, "Oh, you can't compare them and stuff," but we're having fun. It's fine.
That's what we're doing. We have
We're just having fun.
124 votes, and it's
Yeah.
69% to 31% for the Sphere.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I am shocked.
Well, I'm not, because of
Shocked, I tell
recency
you.
bias is a huge thing, but fine. Go with that. I'm okay with it being a recency thing. Right
I am
now,
shocked.
I am in love with that disease jam. I'm very, very
It's
excited.
fans, go figure.
You know what I love about PHiSH fans? In one breath, we could say this was the best jam of the year, and then give Goose fans shit for always saying jam of the year. And be like, the fuck's wrong with you people? Everything can't be the jam of the year except for this disease. This is definitely the jam of the year. It's fucking great, though. It really is.
It really
Amazing.
was. It was a special jam. Like, it was 34 minutes in that arena had to have been just.
It's going to be worth going back for a re-listen. Definitely. I'm not, I just, before we came on, everybody should know that Tim and I were talking about was chalk dust or disease
That's
better.
what started.
So
You were the chalk dust, and I was in the disease.
Right. We
camp.
had some beef working already.
And I was like, you should do a quick poll. And then Kev's like, you do it. And Tim's like, no, you do it. And it was so funny, like the back and forth. These are the things you don't see, is the back and forth and the messaging. And
I was
why.
like, a poll's a great idea.
Exactly. And Kev's like, I'm not doing it. And I was like, I see you, Kev. I know why. Because we bitch if you misspell something, and then you're gonna take
I'm
shit
not
from
misspelling nothing tonight.
it.
Yeah, I deleted that though. I was like, he's not gonna be able to spell that right, and I was like, I can't say that. That's mean.
And his Legion will attack you.
And the Legion will
Legion
come
will
after
attack.
me if I attack him for not being able to spell.
Right. Beneath the Sea of Stars, I know you guys are going to be excited for it. I'll just say that I found the ending of it, the last few times they did it, the last 4 or 5 minutes, very interesting. And that's kind of luring me in a little, but there's still more of the song than the interesting part for me, if that makes sense.
Well, I think that's a good point, Kev, because usually it's about an 8-9 minute song, and so to get that extra 5 minutes that you liked sort of in there, pushed it to 13, which was kind of interesting to get it a little bit longer than normal and have that extendedness to it, which I thought was beautiful.
The Mexico one was the same, out of the chalk dust. They did the Mexico one; it was out of the chalk dust.
Yeah, and I like the combination of the stars with like the diamond stars, and then the blue clouds was really cool.
But better than just showing like a normal starry sky.
Planetarium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Showing our background.
There was a moment in the Beneath the Sea of Stars jam where the rest of the band, Paige, Trey, and PHiSH, were doing this super ambient, spacey, like psychedelic thing. And instead of like droning or going along with it, Mike's just fucking plucking out a walking bass line, like a very jazzy, cheerful walk. And it was incredible. It was like having ice cream with bacon, something that you would think like, oh, that doesn't work. But the contrast of the flavors is just so nice. And I was like, fuck yeah, Mike, get it. Yeah, that was a nice little addition to that song. I don't think I ever heard him doing that walking bass line with the ambiance like that, but
it was nice.
It was nice. Very nice. Very nice indeed. And then we finally got, and then see, now PHiSH starts hitting all the shit that we're like, they have to do this, they have to do that. Like, there were a couple tonight that they came through for us, and 2001 was one I think everyone across the board was looking for.
Yeah, you had to do 2001.
You had to do it.
And this is a cool point too, right here. The best part after was at the end, and the seed haptics went off going into 2001. I bet that was awesome because a lot of people were probably sitting during that song, because you can like sit and enjoy it in the seat, not just like at a regular show where you sit down because of the song. You can actually enjoy it still by sitting and watching the graphics. And so then to get that little kick in your booty through the haptic seats when the song is ending had to be kind of a fun like kickstart into 2001.
I want to
No,
start with the visuals. This
Okay.
was the coolest fucking thing, I think, the whole run. I love this decision.
Did it fulfill? I tell you what, I had many ideas in my head about what 2001 was going to look like, and I feel like they really. It isn't exactly what I envisioned, but they totally nailed it. I think they encompassed the spirit of the song with the visual.
I would have not guessed this at all, and I agree with you. Like, this is not what I imagined. But after I saw it, it was that easy hindsight's 2020. I was
Yeah.
like, of course, because the lights are so integral, and hitting the hit on the
Mhm.
climax and the movement of the lights.
Mhm.
If you didn't have that, you would have missed it, right? I
Yeah.
didn't even think about it just talking about it, but when you're listening to it and hearing it, you needed those lights. It was such a genius move, and I needed it to be dynamic. One of my complaints about the earlier nights was that the visuals it was hard for them to really lock it in with the music, and this song needs it so much, and I think this was a great choice.
And I think this is a great point. This was the closest rendition of the rig translated into the sphere that we saw all run. Like, was this one? And to your point, Tim, it needed to be done because you're so used to the coming up during the rises and then the that this worked really well and kind of was an ode to what you always get with 2001 with the lights and stuff. So it worked perfectly and very proper in the way that they did it. And it was a fun, funky ass 2001 as it always is.
Linda's right. It was perfect.
It was.
I have no notes. I thought it was a perfect placement for it. I thought the visual was perfect. I thought the sound was perfect. Everything about it. I mean, yeah, I'm not even gonna try to find something. It's nice to just have no notes and be like, that was fucking great.
Right?
Good job, PHiSH. You guys are great.
And good job all of us agreeing on something. Like, everyone can agree on one thing and not have, no, I thought it sucked. No, it was good. Like, everyone can
The
agree.
parents are getting along again. We're gonna get ice cream. Christmas
what
is
happens when I-
saved.
See what happens when I'm here? It's all love and light.
Great.
I go away and it all breaks down into darkness.
Oh,
Tea saves
man.
Christmas.
So I feel bad
Oh,
for
I should bring the setlist back up.
yeah,
Go
I
on.
feel bad for our next song because it will get overlooked and it might be the GOAT light that they've ever played.
It very well might be. Yeah. It's going to get the Wave of Hope from Mexico thing where it's like Wave of Hope in Mexico was fucking fantastic and nobody, it's everybody's chalk dust. This light was, although super blissy though, Kev. Well done. I'm kind of shocked that you're speaking highly of it because this side to me was one of the most blissy of all the jams.
Right. I don't think you've ever got a light that wasn't blissy. We've gotten down with diseases that aren't blissy. We've gotten down with diseases that are downright dirty and
broken
right, but
down.
light is always blissy, so you're okay with it.
That's
Like you don't have expectations otherwise.
Right. If the whole set, the only straight out bliss fest they did was light, I wouldn't have minded, all the rest. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
I think it's a good point though, because it will get overlooked a little bit. And it was almost one of those where I felt like being like, maybe we should have waited and added this into that poll too, because it was such a great jam. Like, it was so good. And compared to, like, what was it, that Dick's Light that one year way back when that was always so talked about and so good.
That shit's wild.
I mean, it was right there with that one, honestly. Like, it was it was a hell of a jam, like a hell of a jam.
Yeah, I took a couple notes. Actually, ironically, did have a dark section in it, which is unique or not completely dark, but a darker, like a more ambient, darker turn it took in the middle, which worked really well in contrast to the bliss earlier. And then the slow build, which I would have liked a little bit later in Piper, we didn't get, but there was a slow build to the climax in this light, which was also fucking fantastic.
And to your point, Tim, when it went that direction, it almost felt like that was where it was going to end. You know, like how Trey peters out songs and they just kind of like peter out to an ending and then starts the next song. And I was like, oh, okay, well, we're not going to quite get the full effect of light and this great jam. But as soon as it petered out, it kind of like started the build back and they kept it going and they kept it in light and brought that
very patiently slow building it up again.
Back
and
into
I had the same exact feeling, T. That like anticipated disappointment of like, oh, they just and then to be, oh, hey, wait a second.
Yeah, he's not pulling out yet. He's gonna give it to us again. Like again, took all the meat off the bone that they had instead of like leaving us like they usually do with a lot left. And you're like, oh man, I could have
I
had
wonder
it.
if the visuals helped prevent more ripcords. If that's why. I mean, that would make sense. Not having all the segues and shit. Like they had to complete songs, so I think a lot of jams were saved by the visuals.
Which is almost the opposite of what we all talked about going in, right? Like so many people thought that there wouldn't be jams and there would be more ripcords because you were timed out to the graphics and not able to get into those so much. And I think they did kind of the opposite of that. They actually got through the jams and did the things that we wanted to. And speaking of just like that disease, the re-entry in that disease, which we didn't even talk about, was
that
so
was fucking great.
money. Because even we were talking in our thread, and I was like, okay, this jam has been awesome. It's going to come down to the re-entry now, and can they stick the landing? And man, that was like Kevin and I talk about with the Dead. It was like came right in, smooth sailing, great landing, great re-entry. And Light kind of had that same feeling with
Similar
when it brought it back in and kept going. Yeah, it was really great.
I agree.
You know what happened to the slow build from the Piper tonight?
What happened to it?
It was called Ether Edge.
Wait. I wasn't ready for you to transition. No, it's okay.
Oh, go ahead. Go
Let's
ahead.
go Ether Edge. I couldn't tell if I was sleep deprived and losing my mind or if they really were taking the stereo mix to the extreme. But during the Light Jam, the separation of the parts, like I usually like the sonical cone. I don't know if this is technical how you describe it, but like the sonical cone for me, like on normal webcast mixes, is like this, like a 30-degree, right? Like I have the cymbals like 30 degrees to the left, but like I'm still getting it in the right. I have the snare dead center. I have keys here. It was 180 on this jam. Like I had that washy cymbal all the way over here in the mix and the hi-hat all the way over here, and it was fucking my head up. And I don't know if anyone else, maybe chat can let me know if you guys heard it, if anybody else heard that, or if I was just like my brain was twitching. But like this, just the placement of the instruments and the control they had of it through the headphones was blowing my mind. I was losing my fucking shit just hearing how far apart they put all the instruments.
And I wonder how much of an effect that 360 sound had to do with the mix for the webcast and the stuff like that. Because, obviously being in the venue, as we've talked about, was one thing and just phenomenal and sounded so good. The webcasts were some of the best sounding webcasts you've listened to in a while too. Like you had an extra element and it wasn't as like Trey dominant with the vocals and like losing Mike in there somewhere and like trying to feel Page and find Page in it. You could hear them all, and you could hear little nuances in it, and you could hear everything going on.
So do you think it was the same mix from the house sent out to the stream? Like
that's what I'm wondering.
I think so. Yeah,
that's what I was wondering. I don't know, but it sure sounded like it, or whatever they were doing. Something had an added texture to it, or something.
Or they at least had more options. Maybe they like adjusted it, but because they had such a clean input and had more like. I mean, just the isolation with the isolation booth, like the plexiglass and the miking and everything. I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and listen and talk to people smarter than I am. I felt like it was a very fantastic mix. And I know there were people that were watching on like laptop speakers and like cell phones and stuff, and it probably didn't come across. But having the headphones on, it sounded phenomenal to me. All right, Kev, Ether Edge.
Take it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail you. I just made a note. It was specifically during the Light Jam that I really heard it. So that's why I wanted to talk about that. But.
Ether Edge is a song that they're probably going to be playing from now on.
Bravo, Kev.
Oh man, Piper, a fast build Piper
again.
Oh man,
like no again,
no
right? Build. I will say one thing about Ether Edge, going back, the umbrellas that came up were cool, like the lantern. Those were fun, and then went into the fun kaleidoscopy graphic thing was fun. So even if you don't like the song, again, you could get lost in watching the visuals and have fun with that and like get into that, which was really cool. Like that was a fun part of that song, I thought. But Kev, you're very right with like you could have chopped that 5 minutes out of that song and given me at least a 3 to 4 minute build into Piper. Yeah, like that. Right. That was cool. Like that's really fun. Like that again. If you were tripping, very cool visuals tonight. Like very, very solid visuals.
I mean, even if you weren't,
right?
But yeah,
your sensory overload. Yeah. Oh, totally.
But aside, joking aside with the slow build, I think the Piper itself was what we got was solid. You know,
Yeah.
you can. It's a song that's so familiar to them. I totally see why it made the list. It made the cut. They played it so many times. They're so comfortable. And look what they came up with. That's just.
I mean, I think we talked about it and we thought maybe this one would get skipped tonight because it didn't really
I did
seem to
think that
fit.
too, yeah.
And I was like, oh, unless they're doing like we talked about an animal thing or whatever, and the worm kind of fits into it and whatever. I'm glad that we got it because it needed to be where it was coming out of Ether Edge. It was smoking. It felt like kind of coming back into like the way the Disease jam was. Like it was nice and fast and fucking ripping and just awesome. I love that song so much. Like it was such a great, and at 10 minutes, it wasn't super long, it wasn't super short. It did its thing, right? Like it fit perfectly where it was and set up what needed to be like the first tube to end it. So I thought it was like
that song. You love that song so much you named your dog after it.
I did 2 songs like that and Tweezer, man. Like, you know, what can I say? It's true. And Piper,
I'm surprised you don't have an antelope, honestly.
It's coming.
Here, antelope. Here, antelope. Like, what the hell?
Actually, I think his name will be Esquandolas.
There you go. Marcos, where are you? God help me.
I don't have a ton to say about first tube. I think it was serviceable and
it was pretty.
It was pretty. It was pretty.
This is super cool.
It was very pretty, and I love the like black hole that sucked in the light and stuff, and like kept sucking it in. And Trey, of course, got his rock and roll moment, which you knew he wanted to do so bad. Like, got to get up in front of the stage and do his little knee kicks and dancing and stuff. And then the guitar rock god feeling of sticking the hand, like doing the thing up there, was just money. I mean, you know, he loved that energy and that feeling of doing that. So.
I'm happy that he got to do all that.
Was it a missed opportunity to do it? Was it a missed opportunity to do an 80-foot tall Trey holding his guitar up behind the stage on the screen?
Yeah, brought back like the maze graphic, you know, with just like the one solid tray with it like holding up there. Totally.
Floor to ceiling, just 80 feet of Trey.
And the guitar. Yeah, no, it was a great way to close it, right? Like we always talk about closers and what you need in those spots, and a Piper first tube is a great way to close out this set. Like, just it made sense. It was fantastic. Like, way to go, guys.
Yeah, I agree. So then we got a fun little encore. I think it was appropriate and nice that he came out and thanked everybody.
It was beautiful. That was beautiful. Like that was important, I think. And I mean, you could tell how much it meant to them and how important it all was. Because I mean, you get that at like
a year of their life they spent doing,
right? And you get that
effort.
like at a festival or even like after New Year's, he'll say thank you to the production, you know, like the people. But this was like a very specific call out to everybody that worked on this thing, and it had to have been such an operation. Like I told you guys, like from the people that you saw in there to the people that were in the trucks and behind the stage and shit. I can't even imagine how many of them there were. Like it was. What a production. Like this was just insane.
And
so
this was a whole separate team from the Gamehenge team that they had working the last half of last year.
And the Moment Factory again came through like gangbusters, and like he likes to call like the family and the people. Like it was just like congratulations to all of them. Like that was really special. And it's awesome that Trey like took that moment and gave them all their props, because I know how good that feels. A lot of times on the crew, you don't get anything. You're just a grunt and working and like, okay, you know, but to actually get the call out and feel like that from the band and from like your leading stars, it feels good. So that was really cool.
I agree.
It was not saved by the graphic, but the graphic was cool. The graphic was really cool for that one.
I was almost certain you were going to say More is a song that PHiSH plays.
That graphic was awesome. Like awesome. The dragon, like just awesome.
Yeah, let me get back to it real quick. There's so much shit going on. It's hard for me.
I feel like a couple songs that they played over this run, the graphics saved it, and they may even end up in, you know, my list of the top ones when I sit down and go back and look.
It was
look
so,
at that. That is.
It was so fun. Like
there
it was. Yeah. That was so cool, and the way it like expanded out and like got into this like whole is very cool.
That's a dragon? See, I thought it was like wings, something. I guess a dragon has wings.
I thought dragon too, but the multi-beast maybe.
There you go. Yeah.
I thought it was a butterfly. like an insect of some kind.
I
It's
don't
like
know. I could see the eyes and a nose and like the lizard tongue sticking out from it. That's why I got the dry. Like it just looked like
And it's like a spine up the middle almost.
it's a lobster.
The lobster.
the lobster.
Lobster.
Thank you, Jimmy.
I've talked about more in the past where it's like something that doesn't necessarily translate well at all through webcasts and what we're doing with being like hyper analytical and critical of music. It's hard for that to land. At the same time, I've been in shows live where it does like hit a string and like touching, like, you know what I mean, like it
You were
connects with you.
pulsating.
Right, like the love and light can permeate your, hard shell sometimes when you're there in real life and in person. And I imagine most of the people in the room tonight, especially after the gratitude that the band, gave everybody, and with everything there, it probably landed super well. So I don't want to
sure.
say anything negative about it. I don't know that it translated as well through the webcast, but it never does. That's just how the song is, right? It's one of those songs you kind of have to be there to get the
To
impact.
feel the
That kind of
energy
song just,
and
I don't
what,
know.
Kev?
I was
What?
gonna say that song is just never my cup of tea. Anybody did that song, I would be like, that's just not my thing. I don't,
Yeah, but it made so much sense to put it where they did, like after thanking everybody and then doing the love and light
Sure,
and
of
like the
course.
appreciation. It worked so well in that spot and kind of as the penultimate closer song. It just worked as that, like, sort of the thank you, the beautifulness, like, we love you guys. Like, it's all about love and light for them and like all that. You know what I mean? Like, it just had that feeling. And then you got your slave. So it set that up perfectly. It was just like a really nice 5-minute
Uh,
The
setup.
title of the song is The Direction. There has to be more to it. As long as you have something more after it, like a slave or a reprise, it works great. The couple of times I've seen it where it ends and it's just more and out, it's too much of a whimper
Yeah.
off. But having something after it, then fine. It's fucking great. It wasn't that long.
It only is meaningful if something follows it.
Right.
Something good.
No,
And
not
Kev,
meaningful, tolerable.
and Kev, like, I think, considering it, like this was the one plus to getting the acoustic song in the first set was you didn't get the acoustic song in the encore. You got
Yeah.
actual a fun, like an upbeat rockin' song to lead into another song, which was nice instead of like having the slow down first and then going into it.
Yeah.
And that is your story. Meaning
That's it.
you, viewer, our
You
wonderful viewers.
We're talking
So
to you.
what's the deal? Is there going to be anything else about the sphere before the Wookiees, or this is all
No,
the
we're gonna
info
do a
people are
recap.
getting?
Stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, and we'll put out notifications. We're gonna set up just a kind of a conversation. Well, we're gonna do two things. One, and maybe it'll be in the same show, maybe it'll be separate, but we're gonna have a big panel discussion about the whole run with us and some other people that attended the show. Then we're also gonna do a tier list because I thought that'd be fun, where we take like the top 20 visuals of the run, and then we S to D or F tier how they all worked, and just to relive it. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, and it's rare that you get to do the graphics, right? Like it's something new, so it'll be fun to like kind of break those down and talk about those because it's a new thing.
So
anyway.
everybody come up with a list of your 20, and that way we can see which ones we know are going to be on there and which ones we have to figure out. Did they even make the tier list?
Yeah, and see what other people thought because again, it's so subjective, and
let us know your favorite. Just put the song / visual, whatever it was, so we can, that's how it's got to work.
I think for me, just off the top of my head, the what was it? Taste the Pollock shrine was probably my favorite individual graphic, and I think the disease was my favorite jam. Although that Fuego, I listened to that twice today. That was really good.
No, hold on, whoa. I thought we were strictly on visuals here. Are we also including the jam too?
No, for the tier list, we're gonna do the visuals. I was just closing out the show with my highlight of each.
I just want to say too, a couple things about the shows was like it was so nice. No glow sticks, no tossing glow sticks anywhere in any of the nights, which was awesome. Like being there, not getting hit, and not seeing them was nice. Not seeing any
You had
Like
to check your glow sticks.
not seeing any flashing items though, and because they were selling like all kinds of fun things in the casinos and on the streets, and not seeing any of those in the crowd either, because you always see people wearing like things in the crowd. It was really
main
unique.
character syndrome. They're like, look at me.
Right. It was really unique not seeing any of that in the venue for the first time, and God knows how many years of seeing shows with that stuff. So I thought that was a really cool change of pace and something. I mean, I'm sure it's all going to come back once tour starts and you can get those things in again. But
Hey,
that
it's
was cool.
420.
And also nice for you guys.
I've worked in like 2
420.
hours.
And the other thing I think was a unique thing was the 2 cheapest nights for tickets ended up being what I think were 2 of my personal favorite nights of the show. Thursday night was a cheap ticket, and tonight the tickets dropped because it was Sunday. And
yeah, it was cheap. I mean, it
Right.
still is fucking absurd.
but it wasn't
compared
too
to the
great to
middle-
get in the door like the other 2 nights. So it was interesting that those ended up being what I consider my 2 favorite shows of the run too. So, but hey, I want to say one quick shout out to you guys. Well done staying up late and doing this every night, and well done to the chat for staying up late with these guys and doing it every night. You guys are
Chat was
champs.
awesome this run, dude.
That was a lot of fun. What a
Yeah.
band. We are so lucky.
Yeah, it's fucking great. All right, what do you say we get out of here and try to get a couple hours sleep before life?
See you Tuesday. Or no, what is today? Yeah, Tuesday, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see
Tuesday
you.
afternoon at lunch.
Holy shit, thanks guys. See you next time.